Hello, I'm Jan, Director of Leadership Edge Coaching in Schools. During the lockdown period, our team of associate coaches have been offering free coaching sessions to leaders across the country. As we now enter June and the next phase of the reopening of schools, we're going to engage in a series of conversations between our associate coaches where we discuss some of the subjects that have arisen during the coaching conversations that we've had. Our first conversation is going to be on the subject of handling stress and anxiety. And I am in conversation with Associate Coach Chris Randall as he shares with us some of his top tips for dealing with stress and anxiety during this post-lockdown period. I hope you enjoy the sessions and we look forward to your feedback. Today, I'm in conversation with Chris Randall, and we're recording what would have been the day schools will be breaking up for their Whitsun holiday. But of course, it's a time of anxiety for many of our school leaders as they're putting together a plan to start a phased reopening of schools from the 1st of June. Leaders this week have been poring over DfE guidance, they've been writing risk assessment plans, contacting parents, and attempting to pre-plan for an unknown number of children who will be returning to their schools after half term. So welcome, Chris.
Hi.
Maybe you could start by sharing with our readers a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I've been in education for 30 years and I wish I'd breathed a lot of those 30 years. I started as a reception teacher, became a head teacher, worked for local authority in school improvement, and then worked at a university in initial teacher training, which resulted in me setting up a skit for a multi-academy trust. I then took some time out, had my gap year, and during that year of travel, I trained as a yoga teacher and breath worker. And on my return, I've continued my passion in education by being a director of a teaching school for 3 days, working for Leadership Edge as a coach, and also teaching yoga and breath work at a yoga studio, but also within schools with teachers, classroom assistants and pupils.
Now, today, Chris, you're going to share your thinking around the benefits of breath work and how that can support both staff and children during these uncertain times of change when they might be feeling either overwhelmed or anxious or stressed or all three.
Well, breath work is a very accessible, free resource that we have. Breathing is the only system in the body that is automatic and also can be controlled by us. So for a large number of people, they breathe through their chest. That's where the breath is sitting. So they're in this constant fight and flight mode, this constant stressed, overwhelmed, anxious attitude to life. And the breath work, when observed, when witnessed and controlled and connected, it can allow that nervous system to shift so that they become calmer and much more ready to respond to everyday life and their experiences.
Now, I know you were in school yesterday. What opportunities did you have for engaging with staff who were coming back? How were your staff feeling? And what sort of things do you do at school on a regular basis?
Yeah, well, yesterday was the first day back, having not seen the staff for 7-8 weeks. So I knew that the atmosphere would be tense, quite stressful, staff feeling anxious, scared of their own safety, as well as setting up the school for the children on their return on the 1st of June. So I have a daily practice anyway of meditation and breath work before I set off for work. So I extended that. So I personally was in a much calmer state mentally and physically. When I got to the office and into the teaching school with my team, we just connected. We just sat for 2 or 3 minutes just noticing our breath, observing where the breath was landing, and gave ourselves an opportunity to consciously connect with our inhale and our exhale out through the nose, rather than the breath being located in the chest or around the solar plexus, which would have made the situation slightly more anxious and stressed, which it didn't need to be.
Now, that reminds me of a time a few months ago now when I came into school and shared a session with your current group of NQTs. Do you remember the one I'm talking about?
Well, Jan, it only seems like yesterday, but it was a winter's afternoon. These 30 NQTs had rocked up, frazzled, having taught all morning, had grabbed their lunch, experienced difficult journeys getting to the school, and they were in no fit state to take on the activities that we had planned immediately. So I got the NQTs to sit comfortably on their chair, place their hands on their thighs, a very grounding experience and an opportunity, close their eyes and begin to observe their breath and get their exhale to be slightly longer than their inhale. So they were directing their breath down to their lower belly, and they were arriving in this state of equanimity and calmness. And they were able then to respond much more effectively to the activities than they would have done had we not had that time, that coaching time to sit and breathe like we do in a coaching situation. Time for them.
What was amazing for me was how different the room felt. And this activity literally only took 3-4 minutes to do. And the room felt palpably different at the end of it than it did when you started that.
Well, we were collectively and breathing in a connected way. And again, that is the power of breath, that it shifts our nervous system state from that fight and flight mode to a rest and restore mode.
Now, have you ever done this with a class of children at school?
Within the teaching school, I've developed a resource bank of yoga and breath activities from reception through to year 6, because the staff, both teachers and classroom assistants, were finding that there were peak moments during the day where children were overwhelmed, stressed, anxious, the arrival at school in the morning, following playtime and at lunch times. So the teachers have these bank of activities and resources to use with children that connects them to their breath and their physiology to develop a sense of calmness and equanimity throughout the school.
Now, Chris, it seems to me that there couldn't be a better time for you and I to be having this conversation and sharing it with people, because I know at the moment there are lots of schools that are looking at a restore curriculum. And, you know, if anyone is interested in finding out more about the work that you're doing, how can they connect with you?
They can connect Jan through Leadership Edge website.
Of course.
They can email me should they require further information or access to the resources on christopher.randall3@icloud.com, or find me on Instagram, Breathworks with Randall.
So thank you for today, Chris. Always a pleasure to talk with you. Thank you for giving up your time this afternoon.
Jan, Breathworks. Thank you.